Okay, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome here on the multi-purpose outdoor area playground of Kreitl. It's relatively new. When did we build it? 3 years ago? 2 or 3 years ago. We use this place a lot for chainsaw instruction and chainsaw courses. I want to shortly introduce the other trainers. Alex is in charge of chainsaw and all chainsaw related courses, and also platform courses, and also in the ETT parts of the ETW and ETT. Stefan is from, you want to say hello?
Hello.
Yeah. From Slovakia, and doing A and B level courses. I don't know if you're familiar to the system we have. We will talk about this tomorrow, a bit more detailed, but we have this A-B course, ETW, ETT system, and yeah, Stefan is also trainer A and B, and also in the ETW, and rigging specialist, as Christian is from Hungary, so we're multi languages and multicultural here. And the third Christian, also, good, right. I'm also Christian, so we're all Christians.
He's also Christian.
And also A course, B course, ETW, and Manuel is from the western part of Austria, or middle, Oberösterreich, and he's the most exotic guy concerning the language. No, also does also A and B course and ETW climbing parts. Our plan for the afternoon is that we make a short run through all the simulations, all the 6 possible simulations of the ETW exam, and show you how we set them up as a training institute, as a certification center, and what we want from our guys and girls that they should know and that they should tell us. We start here with the rigging felling simulation, then we go on, walk on a bit in the back for cabling and then pruning and stuff, and then we go end at this tree over there, the beech tree, and then we'll have the first the tree. What's it called? The tree check, not tree ID, but it's inspection. Inspection, and in the same tree we'll do some climbing as well, and I think we'll have enough time, or maybe not enough, but we will continue the discussion we just had before lunch, because it's very important, I think, that we do that. Good. Stefan, you play the guy who takes the exam. And when I'm the examiner, I always try to make the entrance of the exam quite nice and make a nice feeling, because they're terribly nervous, of course. And as an examiner, it's my intention to get the best out of this person and not to suppress them, but to get the best out. If it's not enough, it's not enough, that's for sure. We don't carry people through the exam, but a nice atmosphere is actually good. So rigging, if you look over to this table, we put up a lot of stuff. Every year some company is coming up with something new that you could use for something. And it's actually quite complicated to get the overview what is on the market. And I ask for example, as a first question, hi Stefan, how are you? What do you usually use for rigging? And then is something familiar to you? And then we can go into discussion in team. Maybe says, kennst du irgendwas davon? Was verwendest du zum Riggen?
Kontrafan, sowas.
Okay, and then we can start and tell me something about what is the difference between this, and then I pick something else, some other role. What is the difference between this kind of roles and this? Can you tell me what is? Do you know this? Have you ever used something like this, or have you used those? Okay, and then we can. What's the pros and the cons about that? And then I can ask him to make a setup. Ziehst du die Steigeisen an? Ja.
Die brauche ich gut auch, oder?
Hast du da?
Ja.
Ja, genau. And on these poles, like, we can also ask people to step up 1 meter with their equipment, put on the spikes and make the setup. They could even make cuttings on it. It's a bit in the complete simulation of a rigging process is a bit a problem, because if we have 10 or 15 people after each other, it's getting small and we have to change the stems, and it takes a lot of time, and usually we do not do that, so we just speak about it and let the people do it from the ground, do the knots. Yeah, the 20 minutes, half an hour, but usually we have to stick to this 20-25 minutes. Yeah. It's quite short, actually. It's quite short, so no real cutting most of the time. If it's cutting, maybe some separate pieces that are just on the ground that you can check how he's using the chainsaw. Yeah, we usually ask him to put the setup like this, that we see if the knots, if they are able to bind these knots, to use how to do that properly, how to set up the block roll in the top. Yeah. To be honest, when I just recently started to be a supervisor, and I've just done 3 or 4 supervising jobs by now. But all of the groups in the different countries, they've had real problems, the ETW candidates, with on these rigging simulations. I was surprised, actually, because I thought maybe ETWs have more problems with the theoretical stuff, but they can climb and they can rig. That's the basic, but it's not that way. It's really a shame or terrible sometimes, the lack of knots, of binding this. And this is where I ask the question to all of you, if we should maybe ask the people for a bit more knowledge, knots, or yeah. The most common question is, fix this roll to the stem. And when people start doing this, and this is the only thing they're able to do, then I'm already sad. and because yeah.
But is it bad?
You know this knot, but if this is, and then I ask him, is there alternative to it? You know, what is the pros and cons to this, especially for using the roll. And then there's nothing coming. It's, oh, that's really poor, actually, for me. In the working position, he needs a second security system that provides descending to the ground. And in case of cutting the first, he will drop into the second. That's really not nice, dropping into there, but it's maybe better than dropping on the ground.
Minimum distance between the two.
This is then the details. There starts the details. But I think we all can agree on this, and this is something maybe the EAC could also take as into the rules, because on YouTube you quite often see people that don't even do that. And
That's minimum for me.
yeah, for me too. And I think when we all agree that this is minimum, we can write it down. Why not? And if it's just 2 lanyards, it's not enough for me. So it has to be a second that with that you can come down. And if we all agree on that, if all countries of Europe agree on that, why not writing these things down into the rules or into the something like the safe work practice guide? A lot of equipment, similar topic to the rigging. There's a lot of material available on the market. It's basically 3 to 4 different systems. When he's the candidate, I asked, do you know what this is, maybe? And he says, maybe for cabling. And then I say, do you know some system? And do you know some system? Show me one system you like.
This one.
This one, okay. And then we can go into the topic, and then I can ask him to make a splice, or how the splice is done, what tools he needs for it. Then we can go on talking in which height you set up the system. Do you know the regulations of our country? What is the rules for it, and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And
Questions so far?
material hast du auch.
Yeah, we have extra material here. Can you show some parts that you use? I think you're all familiar to that. That you need tape and the
Some parts
scissors for cutting.
installing. But I'm a non-smoker. No lighting.
If a candidate knows just one system, but he knows how to work with this, and he tells me, yeah, I'm always working with the BOA, for example, and know how to set it up, it's pretty okay for me, actually. If someone tells me, actually, our company doesn't do that, I've no idea what I see here, it's, oh, that's really bad. That's not enough. Another idea generally for the exams is that the ETWs are usually workers, people that like to are used to use their hands and really have something in their hands. This is the reason why we offer real material, real setting up something, and then they get a bit more relaxed and they do this, and we say, yeah, very good. Oh, and then we can show them on a picture, and he can draw something. This is much more fun than instead of just talking and reading, just talking and answer and question and answer and question. Okay, this simulation is the trees on, I think it's called trees on construction sites. Can you help me? Is it right? Like this? I don't know, not just a German expression. We do a lot with digging. And here, can we open it now? For example, we have the simulation that the tree owner wants to build something very close to a living tree, not a dead tree like this, but a living tree. And how can he manage this in the most tree-friendly way? And we want to get the persons or the candidates to the digging and searching for the roots, for the root system. And for example, we then show them, okay, we find this, and we have even on the other side another part where we found some roots and how to deal with them. Can you just cut it, or should you use how do you dig, with what tools, with what kind of machines, or better use no machines, do it by hand. Also, what is the regulations, what is written in the norm, which is the Austrian regulation for that. Yeah, it's big discussion that you can start. There's a lot of things you can do right or wrong. Here in the back, we also have we already have built or had built this curtain on this side and filled it up again for protection. Root curtain, it's called. Is it the right expression? A root curtain? No. What do you call it?
A barrier?
Root barrier? No.
Is it you're saying above the ground?
It's down there. We were doing something, a drench, like they're here as well, and you fill it up again, and you set you make a root barrier, and you have a lot of material here. Ask the candidates what kind of material they would use for it. How do you set it up? When do you set it up? What do you do afterwards? All these questions. This was in the beginning. We had really big problems because we just taught this theoretically with drawings, and people actually had no idea what we were talking about. We realized this in the exams, and then we started many years ago. We started really to go out with them and dig it. It takes maybe 2-3 hours, not that long, for the whole group, and to do this, to build this up, to make a root barrier, and everyone knows for the rest of his or her life what is meant and how it is done actually. Yeah. Yeah, in the planting simulation, we usually have half a hole, or that we dig out and put one tree in a, what is it called? If it's the tree in there, if it's in a, what's the name? Burlap. Yeah, and one in a container, so that people can tell the difference between those two variants, and then asking how should the hole be, what is the soil like on this spot, would you do something else, would you make it bigger, how big, how is the planting process. Yeah, actually all of that, what is in the pruning standard within there. It's just for that they see a real hole, and then maybe it's not big enough and we should do it bigger, or is it okay, or how is the soil in there. Yeah, just to start the discussion. Do you open the wire net? Or do you leave it on, or what is your ideas about that? What is the pros and cons? It's a big question about that, and because I think
Among these
the-
experts, it's still a question.
the people selling the trees have different ideas about that than we maybe, but I always start discussing
Say,
how deep do you plant the tree? That's very important. How can you measure it with a stick, use something, use tools for it, or measure the depth, because it's very crucial for the tree. Most of the times, as you all know, it's too deep in the ground. What happens afterwards? What is this material for? What? How would you do something? Why? How would you set up the poles? What different systems do you know? What do you do with the stem? What would you do with the open soil around there? Stuff like this. And then, of course, you can talk about pruning. Do you have to do some pruning? Can you keep it like that? Yeah. No, you cannot. Why not?
Read it this way, it's perfect, so.
Yeah. It's perfect. It will grow.
Trees with small spaces.
Yeah, it's for little yards. Irrigation. Yeah, this tree gators. What is the pro and cons with them? Yeah. Have you ever seen this? What is the big problem? Generally, what is the biggest enemy of a young tree? Yeah. Afterwards, sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Right. The killers. Manuel, please cut the tree.
With the chainsaw on the ground.
Yeah, no, not there.
100% reduction.
Yeah.
It's the cheapest way.
Yeah. Pruning of young trees. We also give them food. No. We also give them different equipment, and sometimes we also have different saws. Some that have bigger teeth and smaller teeth, and what are curved and straight, so that you can choose. And we start asking, why do you use this and not that, and what's your idea behind that? And yeah, we thought about using clippers for instead of pruning, so that people can do both. For example, on the ladder, and put the clips on, like on this tree. You see purple one. Yeah, then maybe more people can do the simulation on the same tree without destroying it, without cutting. Yeah. Yeah, it depends on the location. It's sometimes really limiting when you have not so many young trees and a lot of people. Yeah, finding the right place. Before we come to the climbing systems, I want to do the last, or just speak shortly about the last topic, the tree inspection. We have done it quite often on this tree as well. I think this is the topic most of you are really into, and don't want to make this broader than necessary. walking around the tree, very important. And we also have combined this part with the climbing sometimes, so that the candidate gets the tree and he knows he will climb this tree, and he has the simulation 2 here first, so he has to go round, look up in the tree and make the complete tree assessment as simulation, and the result will be maybe what should be pruned, what should be done on this tree, and in the second go they start climbing on the same, on the very tree, and really do the action they planned or they suggested. We have done this sometimes, was quite interesting, but we don't do it all the time like this. Before you start climbing is the absolute minimum that has to be done, and this is the first step. Yeah, this is right, just a risk assessment if you will die with the tree falling like this or something breaking. Yeah, right. This is absolutely necessary, and if someone completely forgets about that part in the climbing or platform part, that's not good. The second thing is the simulation. What's it called? Tree? It's not called. It's a tree inspection. Basic tree inspection. Yeah, and this is what I meant. We combined this, the basic tree inspection, 20 minutes, and then maybe not directly afterwards, but on the same day they got the same tree for climbing. So they have already done the inspection, and then they make just a quick go round. Everything okay? I can climb. I always want to hear that from the climbers or the platform people. Has the weather changed? Yeah, it always can. Something could have changed, and just go around, look up in the tree. It's safe. I can go. Yeah, and the third thing is the FLL. I don't know too much about it because we don't do that. The climbing part, just shortly. 2 people, 2 candidates, 1, 2 are working in a team. That's very. They have to be called Christian, both of them, and the examiner is also Christian. One is the climber in charge of everything, and the other one is the guy who is doing, the groundman, what he is telling him. So he can take over tasks, but yeah, both get points, minus, plus points, whatever, how the rules are, how you calculate, but the climber is on top, the chief. Tree assessment, the first thing, we have already done this now. Second thing, getting the line up, usually by throw line. Can you just show quickly the throw line? Nein, zeig nur mal hier den Beutel. One line at all the time has to be there, at least. My question was if there has to be a second from the examiner, because I think this is in the rules actually, that it's just rescue, because it's written and the examiner has to have a rescue line.